You want to make more money, but it requires you to pick up your phone and talk to real estate agents or maybe a seller. You want to learn how to do what I do, make money, 10 grand, 20 grand, $30,000 per transaction. Well, this video is going to show you how I made a call with a very challenging real estate agent, how I overcame that objection, and how I got through the call. Now, just like a great NFL player or a great NFL team, what do they do after the game is over? They go back and they watch film. They get into the film room, they watch the replay, they see what they did well, and they see what they could have done a lot better. That's what we're gonna be doing today. I actually never watch my game film. Today, we're gonna be watching it together. Now, we do pay attention to our YouTube comments, so thank you so much. This was actually a suggestion from your guys' comments down below. So please, as you're going through this video, make suggestions on other videos you'd like us to make, because Matt, one of our editors, he also does motion graphics. Matt makes me go through and do all of the things that you want me to do. So you want me to be your puppet? Just make comments down below. Matt will grab them and we'll make those videos all for you guys. So without further ado, let's jump into a challenging call that I had and see where it goes. Hey, it's Pace. How you doing?
Just fine. How are you?
I'm just fine as well. I'm calling about the McKinney house.
Okay.
I think my team was chatting with you about it. They wrote me a note. I'm the weird guy that sits behind a computer and just wires money to our transactions all day long. So forgive me for not being up to speed on everything. I think what they've done is they probably sent over like a soft offer, like maybe an LOI or something to you.
You know, I didn't see it.
Oh, what? Okay. So how did my team reach out to you? I gotta karate chop somebody.
Well, she called and said that they had sent something.
Okay.
And then I gotten something a day or so before on that property, but it did not have a PDF attached. And I wrote back and I said, you know, attach a PDF.
Got it. Okay, cool. What's going on with the house? How's it going?
It's good, actually. I mean, I've got at least one person interested in it.
Nice. Did you see an uptick with the interest rates dropping a little bit?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What a good sign, huh?
Yeah. Good. So what are you, I don't really know exactly. I'm assuming that you're somebody that lowballs it, and then which we're not interested in.
Man, if I could lowball every house and get it, I would, but sadly that doesn't work that often. We definitely lowball when it's appropriate. Usually it's like hoarder houses or houses that are like basically burned down. We'll buy, 40 cents on the dollar type of stuff. But
sure, yeah.
Most of the time what we're doing, I'd say, is one of four things. Number one, I'll give a cash offer. That works probably 10% of the time. We'll do some deals with agents. But most of the time when you have a listing that's retail, it's on the retail market, which obviously the McKinney house is. Mm-hmm. My cash offer is not going to work, right? Very often.
Right.
But what the cash offer does is it establishes a relationship with you to know that, hey, here we are. I've got a proof of funds. We're a credible buyer. And we can, build a relationship for future potential deals that are the hoarder houses and that kind of stuff. So that's number one. Number two, a lot of times we work with real estate agents where the sellers are just crazy on their purchase price. They just want too much money. I'm sure you've ran into sellers that just are kind of belligerent on what they want. Mm-hmm. And we come along and offer seller finance. And we say, hey, we're willing to give you the number that you want and get the commissions paid to the agent on, we'll pay the seller's agent as long as we can get terms. And so a lot of times we'll get agents that reach out to us for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then we also do we'll get agents that run into opportunities that they can't help. Maybe like I got a good deal today in Kansas City. Real estate agent we've done 10 deals with reaches out and says, hey, I've got a developer that needs $1 million loan. Can you guys give him $1 million loan? I said, yeah, sure. So we do loans as well, and we help people out with really weird situations. So if nothing else, I'm just a really good Swiss Army knife for you.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And are you primarily doing retail listings?
I only do retail listings. I only work by referrals. So
I love it.
Yeah. So
and McKinney's your main market?
Not really. I do other areas as well.
Okay.
But I don't run into any flippable, I got to get out of this house kind of thing. I mean, that's not my market.
I totally get that. So here's what I would do. This McKinney house sounds like you're getting listings or you're getting showings. You got some momentum on it. What I would do is if you run into either this seller not being able to sell at their price at least consider us for like a seller finance thing. And if that seller's not interested, you'll probably get one seller a year that is, and we'd love to be the buyer for that.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
So what I'll do is I'll send you a text with my contact information, and my name is Pace, and I'm just gonna say Pace the utility knife, and you'll remember me anytime you have a weird deal. Even sometimes you'll have a buyer, for example, I don't know how often you'll run into this, but I'll just throw a weird scenario out so you know how creative we can get. Sometimes people are moving like money out of their 401k to buy an investment property and their money doesn't move fast enough and they need somebody to close on the transaction so they have enough time to move money around. I'm the guy that they call.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just put me in as Pace the utility knife.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, you're awesome, I appreciate you.
Okay, thanks for the call.
All right, bye-bye. Guys, I forgot about this call now that I'm watching the replay. Do you know how much money I made on this call? Matt, do you know how much money we made on this call? Mm-hmm. This is how much money we made on this call because this is what ultimately happened. I'll tell you the whole story of it after I break it down. We are making $151,000 on a deal that referred to me. I'll break that down in a second, but this is what I did on the call. Gosh, this was good. A couple of things I want to point out. I have no clue about any of the houses that I'm calling on. If you guys are not aware, I'm not comping the house, I'm not looking it up, there's no computer in front of me. The reason I do this is there's a studio that I'm sitting in right there with 30 brand new people that have never done a real estate deal in their life, and I'm showing them how to walk into a conversation with nothing. No information about the house, no comp, no nothing. Somebody else gave me that lead and said, hey, this lady's a little bit rude, she's short, and I don't know how to talk to her. So I said, I'll make the call, and I showed people how to jump into that call. Naked, like with no information. So I kept saying, hey, sorry, my team didn't give me any information. You want to catch me up to speed? Because I literally didn't even know what the house looked like. I didn't know the address of the house. I didn't know anything besides Dolores and that there was a listing I was calling about. That's it, okay? So no clue about the house. Catch me up to speed is what I say when I don't know. Like, hey, catch me up to speed. What's going on? I told her I was going to karate chop my team, trying to get a laugh out of her. I thought that it would get her to laugh. She didn't laugh. I also said, hey, what's going on with the house? She says, well, I do have one person interested. Cool. My goal was to get her talking, okay? And everything that I asked her, you could tell she was short the entire time. Not everybody's going to be like me, right? Loquacious, verbose, out there. She was the opposite of that. I kept asking her questions. She's like, yeah. I couldn't get this lady to give me anything more than a one-word answer. And I just realized that's her personality. I'm not going to change that on this call. Let me be very short, to the point, tell her how we can make money together. And so that's what I jumped into next. She says, well, you're not one of those people that give me a lowball cash offer, are you? And I said, yeah, actually, I am one of those people. But what I did is I admitted it immediately. And I also leaned into it. I walked right into it and I said, yeah, I am one of those people, but to be honest with you, it doesn't really work out that often. I actually made up a number. I don't know what the number is. I said, yeah, when we send out these cash offers, maybe 10% of the time it works out. I have no clue. I just made that up. Then I jumped into, sometimes we do seller finance. We'll get your commissions paid. Then you'll hear after I brought up commission, she says, mm-hmm. She liked that. Then I brought up number 3, I said, the other thing we can do, because I realized this house was not a good opportunity, this lady was gonna be hard to work with. I just realized, you know what? I'm gonna throw out there that we do weird loans. And so I told her a story about a guy in Kansas City that I gave a loan to. Interesting. I just placed it there. She didn't reply to that, didn't do anything with it. Then if you remember and you go back, you'll see that I said, well, there's 4 ways that we make money on these kind of calls. I never actually said the 4th thing. And why I do that, this is a little bit more of an advanced strategy, is I see if she remembers how many things I've said and if she's really paying attention or if she just wants to get off the call. I learned right there, she's like, I just want to get off the call. And that's perfectly fine, okay? So I said, hey, you and I will probably do 1 deal a year together. And I kept it really down, I downplayed it. And then I leaned into, I'm the utility knife. I can make money on weird things. If you ever have weird sellers that you can't solve the problem, because she's one of these agents. Okay, you guys don't know this world, but agents take pride in being an agent that only works on referrals. I only work on referrals. Well, the problem with only working on referrals, real estate agent, is you only have 1 listing a year. Okay, they love that. They go to their real estate conferences and people are always like, we're gonna show you how to work only on referrals. And that's like the badge of honor that they can wear the rest of their life, is say, I work only on referrals. AKA, you're broke. You actually don't make any money, okay? Real estate investors, that's what I hear. You ain't making no money. So I threw out something that she did not learn from anybody else, and I can guarantee you she does not have as a resource. And I said, hey, put me in your phone as Paste the utility knife, because I was just throwing out a random thing. Here's what ended up happening, okay? She ended up sending me a text message like 15 minutes later, and she said, hey, I have a seller who's in foreclosure, okay? The guy's name is, a lot of people have actually heard this story because it's a really cool deal. I went over there to try and sell his house. He was in foreclosure and he says, hey, my name is Tim, will you come and sell my house? She comes over, she sits there in the listing appointment, determining whether Tim wants to hire her. And he says, you know what? I really just want to keep my house. I'm not going to have you list it. And so has 90 days, okay? 90 days until he gets foreclosed on and he loses his house, okay? And if you guys want the recording of this deal breakdown, I'll put it down in the description below. You guys can see the full deal breakdown and structure of this deal in another video. It's too long. It says, Dolores, I'm not gonna hire you. I'm just gonna go and try and find somebody that will give me a loan. So after I get off the phone with her and I told her, hey, put me in your phone as the utility knife. I can solve a lot of problems for you. She sends me a text message 15 minutes later. She introduces me to, and she says, hey, if I introduce you to this guy and you give him a loan and you make money, how do I make money? I go, I'll give you $5,000 as a referral fee if I make money on this guy. So she goes, okay, cool. We send out a basic agreement via email. Wasn't even a document. It was just like, I agreed to do this. It was just an email. I then talked to, here's what I ended up doing with, I bought his house from him for $375,000. Okay, long story. I won't go into it right now. I bought it for $375,000 and I sold it back to him. For basically $525,000. I'm letting him stay there for 6 months as he does a refinance and fixes his situation. He's buying the house back from me. So I currently own the house. I saved him from foreclosure. I bought the house for $375,000. Where did I get my money? I got my money from myinvestorloan.com. So literally, I didn't even have to come up with the money. Myinvestorloan.com gave me the money to go buy this house for $375,000. I saved the guy from foreclosure and I signed a lease agreement. So he's leasing the property from me where he can buy it from me in 6 months. We will make $151,000 net in our pocket after everything's said and done and is paid. That is what happens with these calls, is that I don't care about the house. I care about the relationship. And if you go back to the very beginning of the call, I actually told that, I said, well, you know what? A lot of times the cash offer is just to get us to establish a relationship with you, to show you that we're credible buyers, that we want to do business with you. If you remember that part, maybe we'll do a little replay here. What the cash offer does is it establishes a relationship with you to know that, hey, here we are. I've got a proof of funds. We're a credible buyer. And we can, build a relationship for future potential deals that are the hoarder houses and that kind of stuff. So that's number one. That part establishes, dude, it's never about the house you're calling on. It's always the relationship with the agent, and don't let some crabby person ruin your day. There's $151,000 underneath that crabby person. They just don't know it. So if you guys don't know this type of strategy, it's creative finance. I bought the property. I'm selling it back to on a lease option. If you guys ever consider joining the Subto community, we'll put a link down there below. I teach all of these things in depth, give you guys all the contracts, all of those types of things. What an amazing call. I forgot about this call. This is where I got a lead that we made $150,000 on. This is amazing. This is amazing. Thank you to the team that put this together and made me rewatch this. This is awesome. And if you guys want to watch the wrap up of this call, we'll put that maybe down in the description below. We'll give you guys more resources. By the way, whatever you want to learn, put it in the comments down below, because we want to teach you more. Matt's forcing me to read all your comments and basically, I'm a video slave. I'm just in here all day long doing videos just for you guys. Thank you so much. Give us a little bit of love by subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you in the next call breakdown.